And when that news was announced, we were number one for leads from Property Finder. We received 543 leads in 1 week.
Do we see it crashing over the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? No.
You don't need to do this. This is not the way to make money.
We are rolling.
We're rolling.
Welcome to, what episode are we now?
Forget it.
Episode number 8
does it even matter?
What's the podcast called?
Talking Dubai Property.
Wow, you got it right.
Thank you so much.
Dubai
Thank you.
Property.
It's an exciting one, guys.
It's going to be a good episode, isn't it?
It's going to be emotional.
Stay tuned to the end because we've got some very interesting updates
we really do.
to talk to you about. Right, where shall we start, Mrs. Jade Morris?
Chris,
I know you've got a few stories that you want to talk about. I've got some facts and figures.
I have quite a few things I want to talk about, okay? Firstly...
Not too many.
Okay, a few things. We've got no guests, and we've got 30 minutes, right? So
exactly. Let's
I think
make the most
got time.
Of it.
Cheers.
I'll be 2 minutes.
Cheers. You won't be 2 minutes with them facts and figures, I can assure you. Few serious things that I do want to touch on. Right now, most areas in villas are really suffering with a lack of supply. Dubai Hills, ranches, which is now causing owners to start putting up the prices so much faster. But not only that, when an owner has their price set, when we're achieving them prices, they're then saying, right, no, I'm not sure if I want to sell. I don't know what to do with the money. Where can I go? And it's right, like rents are so high. We've had it a couple of times. The prices have gone up so fast that they're also saying now, like, where do I move to?
Correct.
And it's totally understandable. We've lost 2 deals this month because of the owners not knowing where they want to go and what they want to do. So, look, it is alarming to the point that the prices are jumping so fast. However, for anyone that is a serious seller and you have a motive, you're leaving the country, you want to put the money into another investment, or you've got other plans for the money, I would seriously just think twice before kind of neglecting or refusing, offers close to your asking price or offers on your asking price. Because at the end of the day, summer is around the corner. We have no idea what's going to happen. I'd like to think that it's going to continue, but we also don't know, right, what's going to happen over summer. So, you need to be wary and careful of that.
I think you just hit the nail on the head there. Motive. Like, you need to have a proper motive, because I think there's a lot of people here that have gone, okay, I bought this property, however many years ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, particularly anything pre-COVID, it was X, now it's Y, it's gone up dramatically, two times, 3 times.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just thinking, okay, fantastic, I'll exit, it's so much capital that we're sitting on. But if they don't have a genuine motive, as you've said, they're going to then, let's say they wanted to stay here and move into rented. The rents are at an all-time high. And then what if the property market does continue to go up for the next 2 to 3 years, which it really could, based on the number of people that are moving here and villa, inventory that's going to be coming online. They could easily spend on rent whatever capital that they've acquired over that 2 to 3 years, I was speaking to a gentleman the other day, and he had a clear motive. He was like, I own in the Gulf Estates, and he said, not a client of ours, just somebody else. He said, my property's gone up by X, and he says, I'm going to be selling here, buying something smaller, and I'm going to be buying a house in the south of France. And that's what he wanted to do. It made complete sense. But yeah, I think people that are just trying to either time the market, capitalise, it's very, very difficult because, as we know, I've got a few bits and pieces that I wanted to obviously mention and discuss here. One of the facts that I was reading quite recently, Knight Frank did a report, okay? And they've written here that the desire to own a home in Dubai rises from 28% for those with a net worth of $2 to $5 million, okay, to 78% for those that are worth more than 15 million. So Knight Frank this is their second annual destination Dubai report based on a survey of three, because I thought, where are they getting these statistics from? They've surveyed 371 high net worth individuals, right? 217 of them outside the Gulf region, and the remaining 100 in Gulf Cooperation GCC countries. Total, the residents have a net worth of $4.5 billion, and they own 1,147 homes in different parts of the world. 78% of people worth more than $15 million want to own a home in Dubai. 28% of people with a net worth of $2 to $5 million want to own a property in Dubai. That's massive numbers. It just shows how attractive it is, you know? It's interesting. But yeah, so everybody's... And it's not just the multi-millionaires. You know, it is everybody, as you were saying.
We were on the phone earlier, right, over lunch. So Chris and I went for lunch. And we have an agent in our office that's negotiating a deal, and she came to me, she said, right, what should we do? 1, 2, 3. And she sat down, she told me the situation of the property. The property is worth 6 million dirhams. Now, for anyone that knows Maple, we are heavily invested in Dubai Hills, and I know Dubai Hills like the back of my hand. Hence the reason that we keep all the agents there mainly. 6 million for a 5-bed in Maple. It feels crazy. And I'm the first person to say it feels unbelievable.
6.2 you said just now.
Just transferred today. We just saw on the transfer register 6.2 for a 5-bed. For anyone that doesn't know what Maple is, Maple 5-bed is a townhouse. It's not a villa, it's a townhouse. 2,700 square foot. Plots around 3,500, 4 if you're lucky. When you're talking 6 million dirhams for such a property, for me personally, it does seem very high.
And what were they sold at? What were you selling them for?
The cheapest, I was thinking about the other day, so I sold in, I want to say 2017, 2018. The original price was 3.1, and I sold a park backing fantastic unit for 2.5 million.
Okay.
And it's 6.2.
5 bedrooms, yeah.
5-bed. So, and the location was amazing. It was on the Paul & Park. So it's wild for me to hear these numbers. And when I see some transfers in Sidra, I'm like, oh my God, like, colleagues come to me and say, look, I'm doing this deal in Sidra, and I'm like, 12 million? Like,
you were like, what?
I just find it unbelievable. Okay? So, today, the client was on the phone to me, and he said, look, he finds 6 million also outrageous. He's the buyer.
Yeah.
Okay? The seller's justified at his price. There was a transfer for 6.2. Yes, there's a few listings at 5.5. However, transfers just happened at 6.2. He's extended. He's in a good position. Yeah. So it seems quite fair. And he said his offer's insulting. He knew it was, and he offered 5.1 to my colleague. And I said, look, I have to speak to him. I took the phone and I told him, I do understand and appreciate exactly where you're coming from. He started to tell me how he feels, you know, the price was so much lower even 12 months ago and he can't justify it. However, for this particular client, and there's so many people like him, this gentleman lives in the community, okay? He's renting in the community. He has a pre-approval for this price range. He can afford to buy, but he is scared if the market turns and it's worth less. He is an end user. Yeah. He is paying 310,000 in rent a year. If he doesn't do this deal today and ends up waiting another year and spends another 300,000 and the price goes up even more, he is losing his deposit. So, and also, if he owns that house today and the price does drop by, even if it hits 4 million, you're not a seller. If you're looking in being in that property and it's an end-use property, even if you feel like you're paying slightly higher in this market, my honest opinion today for any serious buyer would be move. Because all I'm seeing is owners change their mind. I've got deals agreed that people are sleeping on saying, let me think about it. And the next day that owner says, I'm not a seller. No. I'm not selling.
I think... We've just mentioned, you know, he lives there in the community at the moment, 4 years, and that's going to be his deposit, 1.2 million dirhams, 300,000 a year. He's also said that he's going to be here for the next 10 years. The question is, look, everybody would be able to time the market perfectly. I think we've touched on this before, and everybody would be able to buy at the absolute bottom and sell at the absolute top. Do we see it crashing over the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. No. I mean, we go back to the numbers, right? Last year...
Instinctual, I don't
No,
know.
you do the instinct, I'll do the numbers. Last year, 100,000 people moved to Dubai. This year, Q1 was 28,000, right? So we're basically on track for just over 100,000 people moving to Dubai again this year. So far, so that's people coming in, 100,000 people, okay? Let's say 2 people per family. We probably need another 50,000 homes, right?
Yeah.
So far this year, 8,000 homes have been delivered to the market. We're projected for 36, 38,000 odd people, homes being delivered by the end of this year. Invariably, there's going to be delays. There might be...
And apartments.
Let's say, correct. These are apartments as well as villas. Most of these are apartments. Invariably, there'll be delays. Let's say, best case, there's late 20s, 30-odd thousand units coming to the market. 30,000 units coming to the market. We've got 50,000 homes. That's assuming 2 people per home. There's still an imbalance. Now, all of these big villa communities, all of the email stuff that's going to be coming online, everything with our friends Aldar and Abu Dhabi, the big projects that they're doing, these aren't going to be coming online for 3-4 years, and that's if there aren't further delays. These will only be the first phases. So I genuinely think we've got, unless there's some big, external event, I do think we've got another 2, 3, Now, back to this point. Logically. Now, nobody has the crystal ball, as we've said. However, if you look at what's happened in Maple over the last 12 months, it's got up 24-odd%, okay? So let's say we get that again, or close to that again, even half of that over the next 2 years. It's gone up 20%. Now, when the market adjusts, I don't see it dropping down by 50%. There might be a stabilisation, a bit of an adjustment. It might be, you don't even want to throw figures out there, but let's say even adjusted by 20%. If you bought now, it would have gone up potentially by 20, 30, 40% over the next few years anyway. And it's only going to get better. You look at the 2040 vision and plan and... the leadership is genuinely, truly, incredible with what they're doing. But it's growing. We are seeing every pocket, between here and the Palm Jebel Ali is now being filled. The Palm Jebel Ali is being filled.
You say it so posh.
I do. And again, out kind of south towards, Damac Hills.
I would like to.
Go on.
If you don't, sorry to cut you.
Sorry.
I would like to touch base on the recent news of the airport. Okay.
Yes.
Look,
and
I find
Emaar
this.
South.
I do find this quite funny because this wasn't new news. It was already announced like a very long time ago.
It was
like
a redesign.
I feel like people kind of ignored it or wasn't like paying attention at the time. So, unbelievably, it's going to lead me on to 2 things here. So the first thing is, when the news was announced, we specialise heavily in the community. And when that news was announced, we were number 1 for leads from Property Finder. We received 543 leads in 1 week. Yeah, my agent called me and she said to me, Jade, I am so overwhelmed. Please help me. I said, you should be so happy because there's some agents that don't receive 1 lead a week, and you should never, ever be upset. We'll sit down, we'll filter through, blah, blah. But the price jumped dramatically. So where a seller was asking for 1.7, overnight they're asking for 2.1 or 2.2 because they were being bombarded. Naturally, you would. Mm-hmm. So, look, it's very, very interesting how one piece of news can affect one area so heavily. However, like I told her, look back to 2013, 2014 when they announced the Expo was coming, okay? Mm-hmm. Overnight, market went crazy. I'm going to increase my price by 25%. I'm going to increase my price by 30%. It was like, it's happening in 7 years. It's not happening today. It's not going to affect you overnight. And slowly but surely, that price increase came back to reality. That will be the same thing, I believe, that will happen there. The hype is there now. Yes, it will. The airport will come. How long is it, Chris? Facts? it's not overnight, is it?
I think it's like 8 odd years away.
Okay, so
it's not going to be.
So, like, realistically, yes, it's extremely positive news, and I do believe in that area in the future, but it doesn't justify, you know, like 20-30% increase overnight. So for any sellers listening, please, if you were here previously and you saw what happened when the expo was announced, you can just use that as an example. I told my colleague to relax, see the buyers that are willing to increase now, and the ones that are not, let's hope that things will settle down over the coming couple of weeks. That will bring me on to my next point. I had a lady that knows us very well in the market, and I respect her. She's a lovely person, and she knows me well. She messaged me and said, Jade, does this lady work for you? And she sent me at lunch Yulia's number and said she doesn't work with agents, and I found her very rude. So before I called the lady, I called Yulia and I said, Yulia, come on, you know, this lady's in the market, blah, blah, blah. Like, what happened? And she said, no, Jade, I am so bombarded and overwhelmed with clients, and I was taking a check from a buyer, and I said, I don't work with agents, and yes, I said, bye. I called the lady, and I explained that as a company, we don't work with agents. And I think, honestly, she was a little bit offended, which, of course, we don't want to offend anyone. That's not our mission at all. We don't think that because we don't work with anyone that we're better than agents. We just do what we do, and we do it on a very quiet way, and we just stay in our lane, and we have our niche way of doing things. And now it's our...
It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's not a sad news, actually, because we've both got used to it.
I know, yeah. It was very sad initially, wasn't it?
We cried. You actually cried as well.
We both shed a tear.
Shed a tear? That's one nice way of saying it. I was like, no. But now we're okay.
Yeah, so that's it. Christopher is going back to the corporate world, isn't he?
Oh.
I know. We've adjusted to it very well over the last couple of weeks, haven't we? And it has been. I mean, it's just over a year. It's pretty much a year to the day,
decided.
isn't it? Yeah.
So I feel like when we opened, it's so funny. We've been open for 4 years, guys. We didn't open last year. When Chris came on board, God, it's so funny because we both said that, you know, we'll give it that 1 year. We'll give it a try. We'll give it 1 year. We've got nothing to lose. Like, at the end of the day, we were already very good functioning business. We, you know, touch wood, thank God. We've always made good income and had a good thing. But we wanted to try something new. We wanted to enter into that kind of like your business, you know, the off plan. And obviously, I think a big part of it was how close we are, and there's no one else I would have trusted to do so.
100%. No. And look, I mean, you know the conversations I was having at the time, right? And there was obviously other people and I was like, no.
Oh, God.
You know, it's it only made sense. And, yeah, look, off-plan was interesting. That was fun. That was, look, we learned. We did well, but we just didn't, do you know what?
It didn't click. I don't feel
it didn't click. We didn't find the right marketing people and all the other bits and pieces. And then obviously when we pivoted on the secondary side of things, I think the most important thing for me is that I've realised that it's not my
for you.
passion.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's not my passion. It's what I was doing in the UK like 17, 18 years ago. I don't know.
I feel for you. Also, it's kind of like going from that kind of corporate managerial position where you are respected, you know, you get that respect. You also have, you know, people coming in on time, clock in, clock out, like very structured and regimented. And then there's like me off the cusp, like old school. Like I am a real estate agent. Like I am. Like as much as I know I own the business and I run the company, I'm an agent. I know I am an agent, and
that's what makes you and your setup great. It's brilliant. But yeah, so back to the developments, back to the new homes. So
it is.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
It's been.
But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It really has. Honestly, the lessons that we've learned along the way, and the fun that we've had as well.
We've had so much fun.
We really have. You know.
We have. That. I would say, probably out of everything I'm going to miss the positivity.
Yeah.
Because we're both like so positive.
Super positive. It's the only way to be.
Like it's the only way to be. And and you're like, you're around negativity and you're like, oh, for God's sake, like just go away. Like I just don't have time for that in my life. We're both so positive, and also just the lessons. Like this last 1 year allowed me personally to step back. And if I'm honest, I was not as much involved for like selling and being on the ground as an agent as I was all the years previous. And I felt some way like I needed that break,
Yeah.
I went on holiday. God, I travelled for probably 2 or 3 months in the last 1 year. And I felt relieved because I knew I had you. And it was kind of like, it was covered, and I feel that sense of freedom, the pressure of obviously running a company, and anyone that runs a company and owns a company, they know. Look, honestly, another thing I would say, and I think you would back me on this, right? For any real estate agent that wants to open a company, guys, seriously, I'm a good agent. Like, I'm not being a big head, but I'm a very good agent, and I know that I'm a good agent. If you are happy where you are, and you can negotiate like a decent package and get like... It's hard, guys. It is.
Just creating that infrastructure on that scale. So if you've got that, it just makes your life an awful lot easier, doesn't it?
I would say I'm quite lucky with the people that I have around me. The team that I have here, we have
amazing.
like... And I do... And it's like nice. It's like everyone's earning, but I am heavily involved, where it's like, you just don't... It wasn't...
Yeah, look, it's either you want to be an agent and all of this, or you don't, But yeah, no, you guys have got an amazing thing.
In the next couple of episodes, you will be coming back on.
I'll be back
to tell us
what
all
I'm
about.
Doing.
We wish
Thank you
Chris
very much
every
for listening.
success.
Like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you so much, guys.